My mother-in-law has had a biased attitude towards me from the very first days. For some reason, she got it into her head that my husband divorced his first wife because of me, although we met much later than their divorce happened. I thought that the birth of a long-awaited grandson would somehow change her attitude towards me, and I was not mistaken. It changed, but for the worse. My mother-in-law loved and loves her first daughter-in-law with all her heart. I don't know why they have such a tender and sensitive relationship. It's not for me to judge, but my mother-in-law took their breakup very hard. She kept hoping that they would get back together, but it didn't work out. When my husband and I started dating, she had been a single man for a year and a half. She and her ex-wife were unable to have a child, and this, apparently, finished off their marriage. And although I had nothing to do with their divorce, I couldn't convince my mother-in-law of this. She looked at me like a wolf during our first meeting, and at the end, when my husband wasn't listening, she asked through her teeth if I was ashamed to butt into the family. No explanations helped, and I didn't try too hard. The last thing I needed was to justify myself to everyone. My husband and I lived separately, so I had an excellent opportunity not to meet with his mother at all. I didn't want a war. I didn't see the need to build a wall, and I hoped that someday my mother-in-law would finally come to terms with the fact that I was now her son's wife, and I wasn't the worst option. When I got pregnant, I was happy. I was afraid that my husband and I wouldn't be able to have a child. He hadn't had one in his first marriage, although they tried. Both were examined. Both were found healthy, but there were no children. My husband was also beaming with joy. He had dreamed of having a child in his previous marriage and was also secretly afraid that he was not destined to become a father. But a miracle happened, and quite quickly. They thought that the mother-in-law would also be happy, but they were wrong. She only pressed her lips tighter and frowned. And then she gave birth to the thought that most likely I had strayed from somewhere. You lived with Yulia for so many years, everyone could not have a baby. And with this one you are ready in a jiffy. She already says that she is pregnant. It is suspicious. I am sure that this is not your child, so wipe that stupid smile off your face. She expressed her thoughts to her husband. I did not even leave the room then, because I doubted that I would be able to behave with dignity. My husband sent my mother away, and I said that this was the last time his mother came to our house. The apartment is mine, so I do not want to see her here. My husband didn't argue with me. He wasn't thrilled with my mother's conclusions either. It's possible that she got him hooked. I don't rule out that my husband had thought about it too, but he pushed these thoughts away. To put an end to them right away, I myself suggested doing a DNA test right after the baby was born. According to the official version, so that I could poke my mother-in-law in the face, but in fact, so that my husband wouldn't get worked up about it. The baby was born on time. You can already tell right away that he's a copy of my husband. There's nothing from mine there at all. But we still did a DNA test, which of course confirmed that my husband is the baby's father, and there can be no other options. The satisfied husband bragged about this piece of paper to the newly minted grandmother, but she wasn't impressed. She said that you can slap together as many pieces of paper as you like these days. And if her son could have children, he would have had a baby with his first wife. So no matter how you look at it, I am a vile cheater who also dares to pull the wool over my husband's eyes. I understand that my mother-in-law dreams of her husband getting back together with his first wife, having a child and living happily ever after. But that is a utopia, nothing more. In fact, my mother-in-law now has an incredibly happy son and a grandson who is a carbon copy of him. A person should live and rejoice, but it was I who gave birth to a child, not her beloved daughter-in-law. She will never forgive me for this, but I will survive, but I feel sorry for my husband. He really wants his mother and I to have a normal relationship so that his mother can spend her time with her grandson. But it is not meant to be. The grandmother ignores her grandson. She was not at the discharge, nor at the christening, nor at the birthday party. And that is her choice. It is a pity, of course, but our child will have only one grandmother. My mother. But it's okay, we'll get over it. Even my husband has stopped getting upset about his mother's behavior, and I don't give a damn anymore.